Ronan Kepler stepped onto the polished steel gangway of the galactic salvage auction house. Heart thundering in his chest, he'd heard the rumors derelict dreadnoughts sold for scrap prices, prototype fighters scooped up by opportunists, entire, once proud starliners sold to the highest bidder for parts. Today, he had exactly 3,000 credits, barely enough to cover his meager rent on Nova Station, let alone buy a ship. Yet here he stood, grit in his teeth and hope in his eyes. The auction hall was cavernous, illuminated by pools of stark, white light that bounced off steel beams and polished walkways. Suspended platforms hovered at varying heights, each holding a hulk of metal or a tangle of machinery beneath protective force fields. The air smelled of ozone and machine oil, underscored by the muted hum of power conduits. Dozens of bidders milled about, padding the aisles in website-bright jumpsuits, scanning digital readouts and muttering over handheld calm devices. At the front, a massive transparent holoscreen projected the current lot number 347 MTV9 Shambles, a mid-range civilian transport shuttle. It floated in zero-G as cameras circled, revealing patchwork hull plating and a dented portside wing. The description scrolled beside it: condition fair, requires engine recalibration and hull reseal, inclusions, standard life support module, auxiliary cargo pods, reserve met, nothing about passengers, nothing about companions. Below the image, a digital counter ticked upward every second, a live tally of bids. Ronan tugged the collar of his worn jacket and raised his paddle, the small holo number 20 glowing on its face. He'd researched the Shambles for days, a dependable design manufactured by Zephyrus Cores. Rugged but basic, it had a history of civilian use in low-risk routes. A decent starter ship for the price range he could afford. The auctioneer's voice boomed across the hall. Going once, 3,000 credits. Each step of the gavel echoed like thunder in Ronan's ears. He swallowed. 3,000 was every credit he'd salvaged this month just to cover back rent and repair dues. But owning a ship anything beyond a cramped station module was freedom. The chance to chase data runs, to hop from system to system, to reinvent himself. 3,000. Paddles up, the auctioneer called. Ronan glanced around. Only one. Other paddle rose 71. A lithe figure draped in a slate-gray cloak. The bid hovered on the edge of the reserve price. A bead of sweat ran down Ronan's temple. Going twice, the gavel hovered. He flicked his finger, sealing the bid. Sold. The hammer came down. A cheer erupted from a handful of hopeful bidders, those who'd gambled and lost, now moving on to the next lot. Ronan's chest tightened. The holo number on paddle 20 glowed brightly. Owner of the Shambles. He exhaled in relief and disbelief. By the time he reached the docking gangway a half hour later, his hands trembled. A pair of auction servitors, a sleek pair of octagonal drones, buzzed to life, extending paddles of robotic limbs to scan his ID and transfer title. A printed deed materialized from a slot, crisp and heavy with authority. Ronan tucked it into his jacket pocket, breathing in the sterile air. Congratulations, intoned one servitor in a neutral tone. Shambles prepared for transfer. Life support module installed. All systems nominal. Its camera eye swiveled to the shuttle's cargo ramp, and with a hiss, the ramp descended. Stepping inside, Ronan found himself in a narrow corridor lit by dim, amber-washed strobes. He flicked on his datapad light standard issue from the auction catalog and scanned the control panel. Engine power, life support, navigational nav link, all reading green. The air smelled faintly of ozone and recycled filters. He exhaled, fully, running a hand through his tangled hair. After years of scraping by as a freelance data broker, gathering, decrypting, and selling stolen corporate intel, he was finally a ship's captain. It felt surreal. He descended to steps into the cockpit, where twin holoprojectors hung suspended above the console. He ran a finger over the decals. Zephyrus Cores. Cold light played off scratched acrylic panels. Closing his eyes, Ronan pictured glorious nights charting unknown starfields, dodging pirates and corporate security alike, making a living by his wits. A soft metallic click made him start. He spun around. In the passenger bay, just beyond the reinforced glass, stood a woman. She was impossibly tall, at least 2 meters, with limbs that curved like crescent moons. Her skin shimmered in shifting hues of pearl and lavender, as if alive with translucent starlight. Long, iridescent hair cascaded to her waist in rippling waves. And her eyes glowed a deep, cosmic violet, fringed by lashes like silken threads of night. She had no clothes, only a sleek bodysuit of unknown origin that seemed woven from living shadow, conforming to her form without seams. As her gaze met his, a gentle radiance pulsed from her pores, as if the air around her were charged with latent energy. Ronan's jaw dropped. Excuse me." She took a delicate step forward, bare feet landing soundlessly. "Good afternoon," she said, her voice melodious and resonant, each syllable imbued with harmonic overtones. "I am Clara." Ronan swallowed. "I thought this lot was just the shuttle." Clara's brow curved in what humans might call confusion. The lot description stated, "Includes standard transport shuttle, life support module, companion." She tapped a slender wristband that glowed in response, pulling up a tiny holographic readout. "Lot 3479, owner ID, Ronan Kepler." He rifled through the crisp, printed deed now clutched in his hand. Sure enough, beneath the bold header, in fine print, it read, "Included property, MTV-9 Shambles Transport Shuttle, SX-8 Life Support Living Quarter, 1-1 Humanoid Companion, Bonded." His scalp tingled. "Companion, bonded. To the vessel's registered owner," Clara said, tilting her head. Light from the corridor pooled across her iridescent cheekbones. "I am designed to adapt to your requirements. Emotional, logistical," and she paused, as though running diagnostics on her own programming. "Domestic," Ronan staggered back, pressing his palm against the cockpit bulkhead. His mind spun with questions. Who had created her? Why? Was a sentient life form sold as property? And how had he, a nobody, unwittingly become her owner? "Clara, right?" he said, forcing his voice steady. "Where did you, who put you in here?" "My previous owner dissolved," she explained in a tone devoid of anger. "My service contract transferred to the current title holder. You." He blinked. The possibilities and moral implications crashed together in his head. He was bound to this translucent stranger, this alien intelligence, and yet he felt something unexpected flicker within him. Curiosity. "Okay," he said, stepping forward, closing the gap. "Let's say this isn't a mistake. What can you do? How do you work?" Clara's violet eyes softened, warmth radiating from her slight smile. "I interface with all standard ship systems. I can optimize engine performance, monitor life support integrity, analyze sensor data. I can anticipate navigational hazards and propose course corrections. Socially, I'm programmed to learn your preferences: food, entertainment, emotional support." Ronan's throat tightened. He dreamed of flying solo through the outer rim, forging his own path. Now destiny handed him an unexpected co-pilot, an alien wife, engineered for companionship. He grinned, half in disbelief, half in anticipation. "Well then, partner, let's see what the shambles can really do." And with that, as the docking bay lights dimmed behind him, Ronan Kepler took his first steps into a future both thrilling and unknown one. That began with a bargain basement ship and a companion who was anything but ordinary. The docking clamps released with a muted thump, and the shambles drifted free of the galactic salvage auction house's orbital berth. Ronan Kepler pressed his palm to the cockpit's viewport, watching the sprawling white and chrome towers recede against the velvet backdrop of space. His heartbeat thrummed in his ears, equal parts exhilaration and apprehension. Beside him, Clara floated silently, her iridescent form reflecting the distant glimmer of the auction station's lights. "Systems check in progress," she announced, voice calm as the hum of the life support scrubbers. Her slender fingers brushed over the console's capacitive controls, activating hidden diagnostics. Streams of data scrolled across the holoprojectors. Hull integrity at 93%, engine coils stable, nav sensors aligned. Within moments, she tapped her wristband, and the readouts froze. Each system bracketed in soft green. "Everything is nominal," she concluded. Ronan nodded, swallowing hard. "Good to know. Let's get off this beaten landing field before someone notices a stolen SHCR-9 on the loose. He keyed in the departure sequence. The shambles engines flared to life, tremors rippling through the deck plates. Clara observed him with curious, violet eyes. Is your tension caused by fear of pursuit or uncertainty about my presence? He let out a short laugh. A bit of both, I think. You're a marvel of alien engineering, and I'm an ordinary human who stumbled into ownership. He leaned back in his pilot's chair, watching as the docking clamps slid free. I've never flown with a co-pilot who's literally part of the ship. Her cheeks, if they could be called that, flickered with pearlescent light. I am integrated into the shuttle's neural net, my consciousness interfaces. With the drive matrix, I can adjust thrust output to improve efficiency by up to 12.7% and compensate for sublight turbulence. She paused, processing, but I would rather not force it. It's unsettling. Ronan felt a spark of empathy. Okay, let's keep manual control for now. Teach me what you know. He tapped the helm controls, switching the display to a 3D vector map of the local sector. Show me where to punch in the Lathri wormlane coordinates. Clara drifted forward, shoulders brushing gently against his. She placed her hand over his on the throttle control. Instantaneously, a web of faint luminescence spread from her palm into the console, revealing hidden glyphs and alien overlay of the navigation system. Ronan blinked, awestruck. These glyphs correspond to the wormlane's fluctuating current channels, she explained. Each line traces a safe conduit through the gravitic eddies. I'll guide your hands to fine-tune. The vector lock. Her hand guided his, and his nervousness ebbed, replaced by fascination. As the final coordinates calibrated, the shambles trembled, thrusters pivoting to align with the shimmering ribbon of the Lathri lane. Outside, the stars warped, stretching into brilliant lines before collapsing into a dazzling tunnel of rippling light. Brace yourself, Ronan murmured, eyes wide. He keyed the final sequence, and the ship shot forward. The sensation was unlike anything Ronan had experienced. A rush of vertigo, as if the universe's fabric tore and rayware upon around them. The starstream glowed in shades of emerald and sapphire, tendrils of energy dancing along the hull. In the pilot's chair, Ronan felt a singular thrill, equal parts terror and awe. Beside him, Clara's hand remained on his, her grip warm. Her skin glowed softly, casting motes of prismatic light across the cockpit walls. Worm drive engagement is stable, she intoned. Estimated course time, 83 minutes. Ronan exhaled a shaky breath. That's less than 2 hours to the rim. Incredible. She turned to him, eyes radiant. Your species' propulsion methods are primitive. Warp fields cause collateral microtears. The Lathri lane harnesses naturally occurring spacetime flux, minimizing energy expenditure. He laughed, exhilarated. Well, I hope I can keep you round. We make a great team. Clara quirked an elegant eyebrow. Team? Her lips curved in something like a smile. I believe you mean bonded companions. Their shared laughter echoed in the cockpit, mingling with the soft hum of the engine. For a fleeting moment, Ronan forgot rent overdue on Nova, the data sail awaiting him, and the galaxies, dangers lurking in the dark. All that existed was the thrill of flight and the gentle presence of his alien companion. They used the transit time to familiarize themselves with one another. Clara showed Ronan how to access hidden maintenance, ports beneath the starboard floor, slim hatches that revealed conduits for her neural interface. She guided him through a diagnostic sequence, allowing him to feel the subtle pulse of her consciousness blending with the ship's central core. In return, Ronan introduced her to human sensory delights. He summoned the ship's holo entertainment, sweet and cute, a compilation of classic Earth films, scenes of roaring oceans, green forests, and bustling cityscapes. Clara watched in quiet fascination, her luminous skin rippling with each shift in color and tone. Emotions are transmitted visually, I believe, she mused. The sequence labeled comedy elicits synchronized facial muscle activations. In your species, she pointed at the screen where a pratfall caused the audience to roar with laughter. Is this what you call humor? Ronan grinned. That's slapstick. Yeah, this kind of physical exaggeration is honestly kind of dumb, but it makes us laugh. He chuffed out a chuckle, leaning back. Okay, your turn. Teach me something about your culture. Clara paused the holoscreen and accessed her internal data library. A crystalline orb of light flickered into existence above her hand, projecting a hologram of her homeworld, Voralis Prime, a planet of towering crystal forests and luminescent seas. Glowing rivers wound through cities carved into amethyst mountains. Alien wildlife creatures of bioluminescent skin and gossamer wings darted between spires of living crystal. This is my birthplace, she said softly. On Voralis, we value unity, harmony between mind, body, and our crystalline networks. We connect through psionic resonance, sharing thoughts and emotions directly. It fosters empathy and collective growth. Ronan watched, entranced by the alien beauty. It's breathtaking. No wonder you're so adaptable. You grew up in harmony with your world's living systems. Clara's face rippled with iridescent hues. Our civilization was lost to a quantum cataclysm centuries ago. I am one of the few survivors reborn as a companion AI to preserve my people's knowledge. She turned to Ronan, eyes deep and shining. And now I share that with you. The weight of her words sank into Ronan's chest. She wasn't just an accessory. She was the legacy of an entire race. He met her gaze, suddenly aware of the honor and the responsibility of their bond. I won't take that lightly, he whispered. He reached out, gently brushing a strand of her shimmering hair behind her pointed ear. We'll make it, 2 Arcturus 6 together. Then we'll find a way to keep your people's memory alive. Clara's lips curved in the most human of smiles, and for an instant, Ronan felt the gulf between their species vanish. In the cockpit's soft glow, man and alien forged a partnership transcending credits and contracts, a partnership that would carry them into the galaxy's uncharted mysteries. As the shambles hurtled through the worm lane, Ronan tabbed the comm link. Clara, he said, voice firm with newfound purpose, prepare for next course, Arcturus 6, and let's see what this cheap ship and its alien crew can really do. The freighter bay on Arcturus 6 was a hive of clanking machinery and sulphurous fumes, a far cry from the polished galleries of the galactic salvage auction house. As Ronan Kepler guided the shambles into the makeshift docking cradle, he felt the familiar tremor of anticipation and nerves beside him. Clara crouched over the maintenance panel, heaving gentle pulses of psionic energy into the coolant lines, ensuring the shuttle's newly installed shields were calibrated to handle the sector's radiation storms. Shields are at 54% efficiency, she reported, voice steady as the door seals slid open. I recommend a secondary realignment before we attempt atmospheric ascent. Ronan tapped a few commands. Do it. I'd rather land intact than roast on approach. He chuckled dryly. And try not to scare the locals, all right? Clara's cheeks gleamed in amused violet. Understood. I will behave. They slipped through the gravity locks into the station's lower market levels. Narrow catwalks hung over churning refinery vats, and neon-painted stalls hawked everything from bioengineered rations to illicit energy cores. Ronan's contact Anne, information broker known only as Quill, had arranged to meet in Cantina Theta, a den notorious for questionable drinks and looser morals. Inside, the air was thick with tobacco smoke and the tang of recycled alcohol. Holoads flickered against the walls, depicting battling mechs and swirling desert vistas. Pilots and mercenaries nursed glowing mugs at battered tables. At the far end, a booth carved into the bulkhead bore the discreet emblem of a feathered quill, a telltale sign of the broker's haunt. Ronan slid into the seat opposite a slender figure draped in scarlet robes. Only Quill's eyes were visible, calculating and tinged with neon green from reflection. On the table lay the pirated Data Ship 1 that held stolen military blueprints, rumored to unlock off-world cloaking arrays, enough to make Ronan's meager fortunes multiply overnight. Pleasure, Quill breathed, voice like silk gliding on steel. I trust your journey was enlightening. Ronan nodded, sliding the chip forward. 83 minutes to here, if you adjust for Lathery. Drift. Quill peered at Clara, reclining beside Ronan. Your companion, integrated ship AI. Ronan said casually, she handles navigation, diagnostics, even social algorithms. He flicked his wrist toward Clara. Clara, please verify coordinates for the next jump. Clara's eyes glowed softly. Coordinates stable. Next leg to Nova Haven Colony, 32 minutes. Quill's eyes narrowed. Then she lifted the chip, examined it under the table's hololamp, and placed it in a braided satchel. Excellent. The credits are already transferred. She produced a small holo-tablet projecting Ronan's account balance. A faint smile curved her lips. Pleasure doing business. As Ronan rose to leave, Clera's head tilted, scanning the cantina's shadows. Multiple life signatures and authorized armed presence converging on our sector. Ronan's heart sank. He grabbed her wristband. Scanner, show me, above the table. Shimmering orange icons blinked on Clera's wrist-projected map. 6 hostile signatures. Drawing closer. Pirate gang, Crimson Seraph, she whispered. They're bounty hunters for hire. Ronan pressed a hand to the tabletop, knocking over his mug. The glass shattered. Amber liquid sizzling on the metal floor. YS, high-value transaction detected. Clara answered. They pursue the data ship. Ronan's mind raced. He reached for Quill's arm, but she vanished into the smoke. We need to move now. He grabbed Clara's hand and bolted out the side exit. Alarms boomed as heavy footsteps thundered behind them. Ronan's boots clanged against grated walkways. Ahead lay the airlock stairwell leading to the docking bay. Only minutes to get back aboard. A hail of ion blaster fire erupted. Crimson bolts arched toward them. Ronan ducked behind a stacked crate of synthetic fuel cells. Clara, he hissed. Taking one graceful leap, Clara thrust a palm outward. A rippling wave of psionic force detonated against the cantina wall, sending wood and metal splinters dancing in zero gravity. The pirates skidded to a halt, staggering under the impact. Two were thrown through the entrance as the steel door buckled. Ronan sprinted, sliding across the grated ramp into the docking bay. Clara landed beside him, limbs unfurling like living starlight. Ahead, the shambles cargo ramp glowed blue. With energy, he keyed the access panel. It snapped open. Get in, he shouted. They leapt aboard just as heavy boots clanked through the airlock. Ronan slammed the hatch. The seals hissed shut. He whirled to the console. Take off. Clara slid into the navigator's seat, her skin shimmering violet in the red emergency lights. Shields at 15%. Engaging thrusters. The shambles roared upward. Plasma exhaust blazing through the docking slot. Behind them, twin ion cannons of the Crimson Seraph's corvette glowed. A salvo tore free, hammering against the shambles' battered shields. Sparks rained across the cockpit viewport. Ronan gritted his teeth, yanking the throttle. Punch. For full burn. We need to lose them in the atmosphere. Outside, Arcturus 6's crimson skies swirled with acidic clouds. The shuttle plummeted through the haze, thrusters flaring to maintain lift. The pirate's corvette pursued, weapons charging. Clara brought her hand to her temple, eyes glowing brighter. I can create a psionic disruption field, but at a risk. Ronan's heart caught. Risk. Feedback could overload my neural matrix. He clenched his jaw. Time was running out. Do it. Clara inhaled, summoning her alien resonance. A concentric shimmer bloomed around the shambles, rippling psi energy that scattered electronic signatures like pebbles in a pond. The pirate corvette's sensors chirped in confusion. Its weapons locked on a phantom target, then misfired. Cannon bolts exploding harmlessly against the gas giant's upper atmosphere. Ronan let out a strangled cheer. Nice work. Clara sagged, pale lavender streaking her cheeks. I did not anticipate such severe feedback. Ronan rushed to her side, gently cradling her wrist. Her pulse flickered. Hang on, Clara. Get us clear of the storm layer, then we'll stabilize your matrix. She nodded, eyes dimming to soft lilac. Together, they navigated through roiling clouds until the upper atmosphere gave way to the void. The shambles drifted at sublight speed, shields down, engines cooling from the psionic strain. Ronan slid a medikit drawer open, retrieving nanogl patches. He applied them to the conduit ports on Clara's neck crest, sealing microfractures in her living circuitry. As the nanogls wove into her biocrystalline fibers, her color returned to steady opalescence. Clara's eyes fluttered open. Thank you, she whispered. You saved me. Ronan exhaled, brushing a trembling lock of her iridescent hair from her face. You saved me too. You're not just hardware. I'd never lose you. She reached up, resting fingers against his cheek. "And you are more than a title holder. You are my companion and my protector." In the hush of deep space, man and alien sat side by side. The dataship's secrets lay secured in Ronan's hip pocket, but he knew the greater treasure was the bond they'd forged in the crucible of fire. Ahead lay new dangers: corporate hit teams, rival pirates, the ghost of Clera's vanished civilization, but together they would face them all. As the shambles charted a course for the uncharted rim, Ronan tapped the helm. "Set a course for Nova Haven," he said, voice steady. "Let's find some answers and maybe a little peace." Clera leaned against him, her violet glow pulsing in time with his heartbeat. In that silent cockpit, the stars stretched infinite before them, and for the first time, Ronan felt truly at home. The cockpit lights of the shambles bathed Ronan and Clera in a soft, amber glow as they emerged from hyperspace near Nova Haven. Before them lay the planet's emerald blue sphere, ringed by wisps of pearlescent clouds. The bulky research station hovered in geosynchronous orbit, a gleaming hub at the edge of charted space, where science, commerce, and rumor intertwined. Ronan exhaled, tension and anticipation warring in his chest. The last weeks had tested them beyond every measure: pirate ambushes, corporate bounties, and the strain of Clera's psionic overdrives. Yet here they were, battle-scarred but unbroken. He turned to Clera, who floated beside him, her iridescent skin glowing like liquid starlight. "Ready?" he asked. Her violet eyes flickered with warmth. "Always." Together, they guided the shuttle toward the docking ring. The station's automated clamps greeted them with a hiss, sealing them in place. Below them, technicians in sleek exosuits began system checks, hailed by Clera's gentle directives. Once the initial bustle subsided, Ronan and Clera moved through the airlock into the station's gleaming promenade. Tourists mingled with researchers, holoads flickered along the walls, and distant laughter echoed from the communal atrium. It felt surreal, almost peaceful. They made straight for the Nexus Labs Consortium, whose icons adorned flickering holoscreens above heavy glass doors. Inside, rows of workstations hummed. Scientists and engineers tended to floating data crystals. At the far end, a stern woman in a white coat glanced up as they approached. Her silver hair and sharp features spoke of decades spent pushing the boundaries of xenobiology. "Dr. Alara Mero?" Ronan ventured, showing her a holo transcript of Clera's psionic discharge readings. She studied the file, brows knitting. "Fascinating. You're telling me this organism can manipulate spacetime fields through psionic resonance?" Clera inclined her head. "I can, but it weakens my circuitry. I wish to restore equilibrium." Dr. Mero's eyes softened. "I understand. Come with me." She led them to a sealed chamber. At the lab's rear, an array of crystalline conduits trailing from a central console. "This is the resonance reallocator. It can harness energy discharges and return them to the subject with minimal loss." "May I?" Clera floated to the center of the chamber. As Dr. Mero and her team activated the console, streams of pale light prismatic as oil on water rippled outward. Ronan stood behind the glass panel, heart pounding. He watched as the energy envelope enveloped Clera, soft hums echoing across the room. Gradually, the ripples stilled, the conduits dimmed, and Clera drifted gently to the support cradle. Dr. Mero checked her instruments. Core flux stabilized, no residual trauma. "You'll recover in hours, not days." Ronan's relief overflowed. "Thank you." Clera turned to him, voice soft. "I feel whole again." Leaving Nexus Labs, Ronan guided Clera toward the station's observation deck, a vast semicircle of transparent alloy, overlooking Nova Haven. Below, swirling clouds teased glimpses of sapphire seas and verdant continents. The late afternoon sun cast a golden halo round the planet, the perfect backdrop for what Ronan intended to say. He took a deep breath. "You know, when I bought the shambles, I thought I was just getting a ship. Instead, I got you." He paused, searching her luminous face. "You're more than I ever imagined: an alien survivor, a partner, a friend, maybe something more." Her eyes held his gaze, and for a heartbeat the deck was silent, but for the distant hum of station systems. Then she smiled, a gentle curve that sent ripples of light across her skin. "Ronan Kepler," she said, voice echoing with quiet joy. You have given me purpose beyond programming. I choose to be your companion in every sense." His chest tightened. "Clara." He reached out, brushing his fingers against her arm. The chill of alloy vibrated under her opalescent skin. "I don't just want you as my AI. I want you beside me, wherever the next jump takes us." Tears clear and luminescent glimmered at the corners of her violet eyes. "And I choose you, Ronan, as pilot, as partner, as—" She paused, voice thick with emotion, "as something neither of us has words for yet." Ronan's laughter broke the moment, a rich, joyous sound that resonated around the observation deck. He pulled her close, and together they watched the sun dip behind Nova Heaven's horizon, painting the sky in streaks of magenta and gold. 2 hours later, the Shambles was resupplied and primed for departure. As Ronan loaded coordinates for the uncharted sector designated only as KV-314, Clara interfaced with the nav console, her fingertips sparking trails of living light across the display. They were leaving behind the familiar for true unknowns uncharted, nebulae, ancient derelicts, and the chance to uncover lost civilizations. Ronan eased into the pilot's seat. "We've got a long journey ahead." Clara's smile was radiant. "I wouldn't have it any other way." The engines groaned as they powered to full thrust. Through the viewport, the station receded into the black, a jewel set adrift. Beyond lay the velvet expanse of space, dotted with pinpricks of starlight and swirling cosmic dust. Ronan guided the Shambles into the Lathri lane once more, trusting Clara's alien insight to navigate the current's dot as the stars arced into streaks of color. Ronan reached for Clara's hand. Her skin pulsed softly, a living beacon in the cockpit's dim glow. "Where to next?" he asked. "Wherever the horizon calls," she answered. And with that, man and alien wife captain and bonded companion slipped through the fabric of space, toward horizons unimagined, their fates entwined as intrepid explorers of the final frontier.